The quote by Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, uses a vivid metaphor to describe how one should approach depression. Depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away, invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her like a guest and listen to what she wants to say. This statement reflects Jung's psychological philosophy, particularly his emphasis on confronting and integrating the darker aspects of the psyche rather than suppressing or ignoring them. Let's break down the quote in detail to understand its meaning, context, and implications. The metaphor of the woman in black. Jung personifies depression as a woman in black, a figure often associated with mystery, mourning, or solemnity in literature and culture. The woman in black evokes an image of something somber, perhaps foreboding, yet significant. In Jungian psychology, this could symbolize the shadow, the unconscious part of the psyche that contains repressed emotions, desires, or aspects of the self that one might prefer to ignore. By giving depression a human form, Jung emphasizes that it is not an external enemy but a part of the self that demands attention and respect. The choice of a feminine figure may also tie into Jung's concept of the anima, the feminine aspect of a man's psyche, or the collective unconscious, which often carries emotional and intuitive wisdom. Depression, in this sense, is not just a burden but a messenger bearing insights from the unconscious mind. If she turns up, don't shoo her away. This part of the quote advises against the instinct to reject or suppress depression. In modern society, there's often a tendency to avoid negative emotions, either by distracting oneself with work, entertainment, or substances, or by pathologizing depression as something to be quickly fixed or eradicated. Jung, however, suggests that this avoidance is counterproductive. In his view, psychological symptoms like depression are not random but purposeful. They emerge from the unconscious to signal an imbalance or a need for growth. By saying don't shoo her away, Jung encourages acceptance of depression as a valid and meaningful experience. Trying to push it away risks missing the opportunity to understand its root causes or what it might reveal about one's inner life. This aligns with Jung's broader philosophy of individuation, the process of integrating all parts of the psyche to achieve wholeness. Invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her like a guest. This phrase underscores the importance of engaging with depression respectfully and attentively, as one would a guest. In Jungian terms, this means approaching depression with curiosity and openness rather than fear or judgment. Inviting the woman in black into one's life suggests creating space for introspection and self-awareness. By offering her a seat, you acknowledge her presence and give her the time and space to express herself. Treating depression like a guest also implies a temporary relationship. A guest is not a permanent resident but someone who comes for a purpose and will eventually leave. This perspective can offer hope, suggesting that depression, while intense, is not a fixed state but a phase that can lead to transformation if approached mindfully. Listen to what she wants to say. The most critical part of Jung's advice is to listen to depression's message. In Jungian psychology, emotional states like depression often arise when the conscious mind is out of alignment with the unconscious. Depression may signal unresolved conflicts, unmet needs, suppressed creativity, or a disconnection from one's true self. By listening to what depression wants to say, one can uncover these underlying issues and begin to address them. This listening process might involve self-reflection, journaling, therapy, or engaging with creative outlets like art or dreams, which Jung considered gateways to the unconscious. The goal is to understand the symbolic or psychological meaning behind the depression rather than viewing it solely as a biochemical or external problem. Jungian context, the shadow and individuation. To fully appreciate this quote, it's helpful to place it within Jung's broader psychological framework. Jung believed that the psyche consists of both conscious and unconscious elements, and mental health depends on integrating these parts. Depression, as a manifestation of the shadow, may represent aspects of the self that have been neglected or rejected, such as unacknowledged grief, suppressed desires, or a lack of meaning in life. The process of individuation, central to Jung's psychology, involves confronting and integrating these shadow elements to achieve a more balanced and authentic self. By inviting depression in and listening to it, one engages in this process, potentially transforming suffering into growth. Jung's approach contrasts with more conventional views that might focus solely on symptom relief, emphasizing instead the potential for depression to catalyze profound personal development. Practical implications. Jung's metaphor offers practical guidance for dealing with depression. Acceptance over resistance. Rather than fighting or denying depression, acknowledge its presence. This might mean allowing yourself to feel sad or low without immediately trying to fix it. Mindful engagement. Reflect on what depression might be signaling. Are you overworked? Disconnected from your values? Grieving a loss? Journaling, meditation, or therapy can help uncover these insights. Patience and respect. Treat depression as a temporary visitor with something to teach you. This mindset can reduce shame and foster self-compassion. Seek meaning. Explore whether depression is pointing to a need for change, whether in relationships, work, or personal goals. Jung believed that symptoms often arise to push us toward growth. Cultural and modern relevance. Jung's perspective is particularly relevant in a world that often stigmatizes mental health struggles or pushes quick fixes like medication or positive thinking. While these approaches can be valuable, Jung's metaphor reminds us that depression often has a deeper purpose. Modern psychology, particularly in traditions like depth psychology or existential therapy, echoes this idea by encouraging individuals to explore the meaning behind their suffering. However, it's important to note that Jung's approach does not dismiss the biological or social factors of depression. Severe depression may require medical intervention, and Jung's advice is best seen as complementary to, rather than a replacement for, professional treatment. His focus is on the psychological and symbolic dimensions, which can be explored alongside other therapies, critiques and limitations. While Jung's metaphor is poetic and insightful, it may not resonate with everyone. Some might find the idea of listening to depression abstract or difficult to apply, especially in cases of severe clinical depression where cognitive and emotional resources are limited. Additionally, the gendered imagery of the woman in black might feel outdated or overly specific to some, though Jung likely used it to evoke archetypal symbolism rather than to exclude any gender. Furthermore, Jung's approach assumes a level of psychological introspection that may not be accessible to all individuals without guidance from a therapist or analyst. For those in acute distress, immediate symptom relief, for example, through medication or crisis intervention, may be necessary before deeper exploration is possible. Conclusion. Carl Jung's quote, "Depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away, invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her like a guest and listen to what she wants to say," encapsulates his belief in the transformative potential of engaging with difficult emotions. By personifying depression as a visitor with a message, Jung encourages us to approach it with curiosity, respect, and patience, viewing it as an opportunity for self-discovery and growth. This perspective aligns with his broader philosophy of integrating the shadow and pursuing individuation, offering a timeless reminder that even our darkest moments can lead to profound insights if we are willing to listen.